Good evening, guys. I wanted to get on here. I had something that just came across my desk, and we need to get this information out and kind of let everybody know where we're at, what's happening when in ahead of court on Monday. And so there was a brief that just dropped, and basically it's a response that came from the judge, and so let's talk about the beginning of this process. Yeah, there was a lot of people that they looked at this judge and they looked at this judge like this judge was going to be our savior. You know, she was a Trump appointee and all this stuff, and there was a lot of people that believed the hype. And obviously, the first time that we went in front of her, she showed us her true colors. She's not, she's a Trump appointee in name only, and so the last couple days have been kind of challenging up there because they've been doing the last kind of final maneuvering when it comes to what the case is going to look like on Monday. And so there's been lots of back and forth, and so some of the stuff I can't talk about, but some of the stuff that I do want to talk about tonight is basically the way that she's really hamstrung our case. And what she's trying to do is she's trying to make it so there's certain parts that's really pertinent information that's not going to be part of the record, and which is really, really bad for us. And so I'm trying to remain positive. I'm trying to remain optimistic, but it's getting increasingly more difficult to do so just because of what's happening in almost the 11th hour. We're going to be in court at 9 a.m. on Monday. So there's not a lot of time left before this thing, it's go time. And so going into court on Monday, I want you guys to be aware of what we're looking at. This is definitely, we're behind the 8 ball here, and things are not going to be looking good for us. And I think what we're trying to do is probably set it up for an appeal and put us in a position where it's going to go to a higher court. It's going to go to the Ninth Circuit. From there, we'd go all the way to the Supreme Court. That's in reality, that's what this is going to it's going to happen. Is this has never been done before. This law is unprecedented in our country, and so that's what we're looking at. And so I hope you guys are hearing me and they're seeing this. I see people watching, but I don't know if if you guys are commenting. Like, that's how this stuff gets out, is you guys have to respond. You have to engage in the algorithm, or this stuff does not even get seen. Okay. So if you guys are paying attention, we need questions, we need comments, we need shares. That's what, gets this out to people. We need to see it. And, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I'm just, this how this stuff works. And so, and I'm also trying to be careful with my words, because I definitely don't want to put us in a position where we have to explain. So I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And so with this stuff, I'm gonna make sure I get approval before I drop this facial challenge. And basically, what it does is it makes it harder for us to maneuver. And basically, some of the information that I saw today on what they're going to allow as evidence is not actual evidence. It's not factual based information. It is emotional based information. It's trauma doctors that are going to be talking about bullet wounds. It's smoke and mirrors. It's nothing that has any relation to any sorts of reality when it comes to what's happening in federal court. And so this is something we have to prepare ourselves for, and we have to. Okay, so I'll put all the information here. I got it from the horse's mouth, and thank you, Adam. And so give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I can get it. Give me 1 second, please. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this information into the chat. So you guys will be able to see everything that I'm seeing right now in real time. And so this is stuff that the whole thing's going against us, right? The whole system and is against us right now. And so we have to understand what's at stake here. And what's at stake is the fact that, you know, this is definitely a David versus Goliath. And we also have to, one thing I want to focus on is as our mindset and our preparation for this, because, you know, what's going to happen is this is not going to be a slam dunk victory for us. If we get any victory out of this deal, it's going to be by the skin of our teeth. And so we have to almost look at this like we're going to lose this situation. Okay. And I'm saying this, I'm saying this in a way that, excuse me one second. I'm trying to put this in here. So it's in there. So you'll see once we're done with this is the information that I'm seeing. Right. And so what she did is she's picking and choosing what she sees as fit as you know, viable evidence, right? And evidentiary, you know, something that's party to this case. You know, there was me, there was, you know, a couple of other people that spent a lot of time reviewing documents ahead of this to help our legal team. I went through probably 1,200 different files, just seeing what was something that was worthy of checking into, what's garbage, you know, what we don't even have to look at, right? So I spent a lot of time looking at the evidence, and the evidence was from the Oregon State Police. And I saw a lot of stuff from the Oregon State Police. The Oregon State Police is not in a position to implement this law. And it doesn't matter. Like we could say, bippity boppity boop, this thing goes into effect on, let's say, Tuesday. These are all hypotheticals, right? Hypothetical is if this thing goes into effect, and this is not going to happen. I'm just talking hypothetically here. If this goes into effect on Tuesday, hypothetically, that the Oregon State Police does not have the manpower, the resources to implement, everybody's rights are going to be denied day one. Okay. They do not have a program. They do not, the Oregon State, the sheriff's associations, they do not have a program. Local cops, municipalities, they do not have a program, and nothing has been addressed. Okay. So from November 8th to today, so we're over 6 months now. We're close to 7 months now, right? 8 months now. We're not a single step closer today than we were on December 8th when this thing was supposed to be implemented. That was the 30-day after measure 114 was passed on the ballot. And so, you know, that's the thing. We have to buckle down. We have to keep our minds in this game. We have to stay a part of this process. You know, it's going to cost us money. It's going to cost us resources. And this is definitely a war of attrition. They are trying to do whatever they can to take all of our funding away from us and just wear this down, wear us out, so they will concede. And that's what happened today. You know, obviously I'm still trying to figure out what happened with GOA. I talked to one of my friends there, and so we're trying to figure out why GOA stepped out, and maybe that was a good thing for them to step out. It's kind of bad timing for us as Oregonians, so I'm kind of salty about it, but it is what it is. And so, you know, that's kind of where we're at, is we have to prepare ourselves for a worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is we're going to lose. And from that, and it's because the judge is doing everything that she can to not allow this to go forward the way it needs to go forward. And maybe it's a good thing, because it's going to set us up for an appeal. So, you know, we have to look at this. We have to look at this from the long game, right? This is, you know, everything that I try to do when it comes to gun rights, I'm looking generational. This is a generational fight. This is not going to be won in 6 months. This is not going to be won in a year. This is going to be a 5 to 10 year fight. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to go from this federal court, right? If we don't get because I mean, ultimately, if something were to happen, and, you know, let's say, you know, we pulled a victory out of this, they're going to appeal it immediately. So it's going to get tied up again in federal court. And so what's going to happen there? Then it's going to go to a higher court, which, you know, depending on where it goes, it's going to go down to San Francisco, most likely, for the Ninth Circuit. And Ninth Circuit, there has been some decent rulings out of there. And but it's not the end all be all. It's still, there's going to be one more court after that. It's going to probably go, obviously I'm not a lawyer. I'm playing a lawyer. I'm playing attorney today on Facebook. I'm trying to give you information to get you fired up. I want to get you prepared, and because this is what we're looking at. And it seems from day one, this whole system's been set against us. This whole thing has been so rigged, and I've been trying to be optimistic, because I know there's a lot of people that pay attention to what I say, and I try to be careful with my words, and I never ever want to say the sky is falling, because I don't feel that the sky is falling, but I feel in this situation we're in a position where from day one this whole thing has been stacked against us, and they've done nothing but hinder our ability to fight this and fight this in an effective way. And so let me get through this and I'll address some of the comments. Let me kind of get my monologue out here and what I'm thinking, because I'm fired up. I'm mad, because I'm not on the front lines. There's people here. There's two people that are in the chat right now that have their names are on as one of the plaintiffs, right? So I have Cody Bowen, Adam Johnson. These two guys put it all on the line, and they're plaintiffs, and they're part of this chat right now, and they are standing. They're the tip of the spear, and we've got to come alongside of them and help support them. And that's what I try to do. And I try to do it as best I can and give you guys the information you need to make sure that you are aware, you're awake. We're not woke, we're awake. That's what we are. And so it's not the time to I guess I'm confusing myself here, because I feel like it's like a panic type situation, but I'm trying not to panic. I just need to stay the course. And when I say stay the course, as we get involved and we make sure that, we're supporting the people that are fighting for us right now. Like when we have Oregon Firearms Federation, they're part of this plaintiff. They need help, right? And GOA, what they did today is they pulled out. So why those big national organizations are really good, because they have lots of resources. They're not going to support your rights the way the local orgs are. And the local org, our dog in the fight right now is Oregon Firearms Federation. And so I think an action item from tonight, if there's something that we can do to help, I would say if we can chip in and send $50 to $100 to Oregon Firearms Federation, all of us get off here and send some help to them and get them. And so if you can't open it, what I'll do is I'll once I'm off of here, I'll get you the PDF. I just did this because I was in the middle of doing a video, so I apologize for that, Alicia. I will get that as soon as I'm done here. Now that I have the approval to share it, and so, this is kind of where we're at. We just got to prepare ourselves. We got to prepare ourselves for the worst. I mean, a lot of it is comes down to training, right? Our training was we're always looking at worst case scenarios. We're always planning for stuff that could go wrong. And in this situation, I think it's important that we do understand that if this does go bad, it's going to take time for us to right this ship. If we lose in federal court, nothing's going to change for the time being, right? So that temporary restraining order, I think that's the only thing that I saw here that I really agree with when it comes to the federal court judge, is she doesn't think that this is a federal court constitutional issue. She thinks this is a state issue. And so for that, that gives me hope, because now she's going to refer that to the Harney County judge. And so that's the kind of thing. So let me get through this, and I'm almost done. And then I'll be able to kind of help you with the questions. So, they're still coming after, your magazine capacity. There's all these different things that they're trying to do. And they're desperate. We have to look at it that way as well. We look at it from the optics. That's why they're using the media. If they had a good case, and Bruen wasn't such a deciding factor in our favor, they would not be doing what they're doing in the 11th hour. And so, that's what we have to understand is we have to be patient, and we have to be able to support the org that's doing the work for us, and the plaintiffs that are doing the work for us. And so, that's kind of where we're at. And so once I get off here, I don't want to take too much time, but I want to give you an update on what's happening. And so I think one of the most dangerous part of what I'm going to drop once I'm done with the video is the fact, and it's on the last, like one of the last pages, is she uses the term dismisses without prejudice, right? And so that's a term, you know, it's a legal term, and it's not something that's really, you know, beneficial to us. And yeah, there's four cases that are merged in together. And so that's the thing right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going through my comments here, and I'm going to start highlighting ones. And so, you know, this stuff, one thing about the people that are in the chat right now. So Adam Johnson is a man that I met through this, and I've come to become really good friends with him, and it's a man I respect. And he is one of the plaintiffs. And so, you know, I have tremendous respect for him, and I respect his input and his perspective on how I proceed when it comes to stuff like this. And he sent me this information, and I'm getting it out to you, and I'm getting it out as quickly as I can. And so the whole point of this is, uh-oh. Oh, Adam. So let's talk about, let's switch topics here. Okay. Let's talk about optics. Let's talk about optics for a second. Okay. And, you know, one thing that we haven't done effectively, or as well as others have done, is for us to, you know, show the public who we are, right? And part of that is we're at work. We're raising families. We're stuff that takes us away from being where we need to be, right? And so, you know, one thing that was brought up via text just a minute ago, and I think there's some very valid point here. And so I've kind of come off the rails, like what I was talking about, but I want to bring it back for your thoughts. Okay. And so when we're talking about my thoughts, so it was just brought up to me, and this is something that, let's talk about it and what it looks like. Having a big crowd of people there, with signs, you know, protesting on the street corner outside the court. That's something that was just brought to my attention, and from somebody that I trust. And so what is your thought on that? Is that something that we could pull off in, you know, a couple of days? And so the reason I say this is because the other side has already been trying this trial in the Court of Public Appeals, right? So they have been using the media, they've been using letters to the editor, they've been using emails, they've been doing all these things, right? And so, and we're just here. It's like we're watching a slow moving train wreck, right? We're seeing the train come off the tracks, yet there's nothing that we can do. And I feel that we have to do something drastic. And when I mean drastic, is something that they don't anticipate us to do. And I'm not calling for any kind of violence. I'm being very specific with my words. I'm not inciting any kind of violence. This is our fellow gun owners going for a stroll in downtown Portland, outside of the courthouse, and having a presence. That's what I'm advocating. Or even better, being inside that building and being inside that courtroom, where we get there so early that we don't allow those red shirts into the building, right? We get the room like we did up there in Salem, and we have our QRF, our quick reaction force. We have guys and gals that are there that can hold that line. And yes, teal shirts, absolutely. And so, you know, that's the thing. That's the thing. Absolutely. You know, something that's going to, you know, separate us from the other side. And I'm bringing this up for conversation just because I want to check the temperature of the crowd. Is this something that you guys can get behind? You know, Bob of the Ninth, our rights are on the line. Is this something that you can support? Because if it's something you can support, then I'll create, you know, events. We can promote it. We can get people there. You know, if we're gonna if we're going to miss a day of work, maybe this is the day of work that we need to miss. And I don't say that lightly, because I you know how I feel about, taking of your time and your resources. So that's kind of where I'm saying is this is a tactic that we haven't done. And you know I just want to know if I can get some buy-in from you guys. I guess that's where I'm getting at. um you know yeah, so Gary, yes, this is starting on Monday. It goes Monday to Friday. It's going to be up in Portland at the federal courthouse. I'm going to be leaving early. I only have one seat because of the vehicle I'm taking up there. I'm going to be very careful with the stuff that I talk about, just for my own protection. Um, Absolutely, absolutely. The media is watching, right? And we need to turn those cameras on us, right? We need to. Yeah, it's hard to breathe. It's hard to breathe because I put everything into this, and I don't want to lose, because I don't want to feel like I let people down. And I'm asking for help from my friends here. And what do we do? What does this look like for us? Is this something that we can do? And that's where I'm at. Is And I got this information literally 5 minutes before I came on here, and so I didn't have time to put together my thoughts the way I normally would do. And so it kind of seems like I'm all over the place, because I really am, because I really don't know what this looks like. I'm going to keep hammering. Where's this at? Um, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to stop, because I know you guys are going to come along my six, and you guys are going to help me out. What does this look like? What does this look like for us? Um, we just got to make sure that we represent well, right? So if we're going to do something like this, it's really kind of bold. We haven't done something on this scale, because there's going to be lots of media there. Is can we do this the right way? And so what I mean, I haven't got anywhere on the shirts. I'm still waiting on funds. There's things. Um, there's things that I'm still trying to put together. Like, I feel like that whole there's just so many things that are going up in the air. I can't. I got all these balls that I'm juggling, right? Like a circus clown, and I'm bound to drop some of them, And all I can do is focus on the stuff that is the most pressing that I have in front of me, and try to keep everything in front of me, and that's what I'm trying to do here today. But when I'm talking about when we're going up into this situation, this is going to be something where we're going to be under a microscope. There's going to be so much attention there. There's going to be media. There's going to be crowd. There's going to be it's going to be an unfriendly crowd too, because they think they're righteous, and they're not righteous. And so, that's what I'm saying is, if we can do this and we come together and we look, business casual, we look just like them. I don't think I have time to put, common color coded t-shirts together. I don't have time for that. I have time to, put on a clean shirt and look presentable and go into that building. That's what I have time to do. And I just want to, be very particular and specific about this. This is not the militia, right? This is not the paramilitary thing that they're thinking that we are. This is us trying to, you know, absolutely right here. I'm gonna highlight this. Okay, highlight this right here. Okay. Yes. This right here. The way we lose is when we run out of resources, and so this right here. If you were going to buy a gun this weekend, if you could take $100 out of that gun budget and maybe hold off buying a gun or buying ammo or doing something like that, unless you really, really need it, right? Like, I never want to take away somebody's ability to defend themselves, but if you can afford it. Let's help out the cause. Okay. Let's pay it forward here and make sure that money stays here in Oregon as opposed to going to FPC or GOA, you know. Cowboy hat. Cody, I would be honored to wear your cowboy hat. And that's the thing is they think that we're just bloodthirsty animals and we love our guns more than we love our fellow citizens. And I think counter to that is as we love our citizens so much that we're ready to fight for them, and we're going to fight obviously in court. And we're going to fight for our rights. We're going to fight for our children's rights. We're going to fight for our grandchildren's rights, and that's what we're going to do. And so that's the only thing that I can kind of propose here is this something that we can get behind? 100%. 100%. Could you guys support me if I put something together and try to lead this in a different way when it comes to getting people there to put a face to Oregon gun owners and push back on this stuff and push back in a way that's not going to make us look bad, right? We're going to be very respectful. We're going to be up there. We're going to clean up our messes. We're going to do whatever we can to support our council, our fellow plaintiffs that are our friends and our neighbors, and we're going to do something. I think this is really, really important. And I wasn't necessarily envisioning it going this direction until I got that text from my friend. And so then he started this kind of thought process. And so that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where, so make it happen. I'll be there. Okay. Can I get 10 more, 20 more people that can say that, 30 more that can say that, 40 more that can say that, right? If we can turn this little video that's all over the place, because I'm all over the place, into something actionable, and it turns into some help for Oregon Firearms Federation and our plaintiffs, and it also turns into us showing up in court and to put a face to Oregon gun owners and to stand together in solidarity, right? We're standing united together with one common goal, and that is to stop Measure 114. I've already been kind of thinking about what I want to write because, because I do posts, like I document what I've done, my travels, my journeys, and part of what I do is I want to empower others to do what I'm doing, right? And I've already been thinking about what I want to say on that Monday morning check-in when I check in there with a little selfie, because I'm there early and I'm ready to go and I'm fired up, and I'm going there to be a part of this process. And part of this is I started this over a year ago. I started this journey with you guys over a year ago. It was in February is when I started seeing this verbiage of this ballot initiative, IP 17, and then there was an IP 18, and that was in late January, February, right? And then actually of the following of 2022, right? Yes, that's how it worked. And then they started gathering signatures. Then they got a ballot title. So in March, it was March of last year, that's when I was full on like attention. I was watching this because I saw, this was trouble. And I tried to warn people. I tried to put this out in the group. I tried to let people know what was coming. And it was hard because I didn't feel like we didn't take it seriously. We didn't think that this would be possible. And so part of this journey for me, I helped kind of try to shut down the language. So I'm helping our people that are testifying in these hearings before this thing even had an actual, ballot title. And they were doing some shady stuff there. They're making it really confusing. And that's what they did. They only had 500 words. They had 500 words to be able to put in the ballot pamphlet. And they had to tell the public why they should vote yes for this. And they did a horrible job. And a horrible job, because that's why we have this. If they were clear the way they should have been. And it comes down to Shemaiah Fega. Shemaiah Fega should have never, ever let this thing get on the ballot, right? And so from this, it gets into a ballot on the ballot. And then, we start waking up September, October, still not going the way we needed to go, because there was that the what if factor, right? And that's what happened, is the what if factor. So fast forward to November 8th, right? And I watched it all day. I watched the counts. I kept refreshing. I mean, I was possessed, because so much this impacted me and my state and my neighbors and the people here, right? And so from that, it was passed. We lost by less than 1%. We had 180,000 Republicans that stayed home and didn't vote because they feel like their voice didn't matter. And I'll tell you one thing, is it was the rural counties that felt that their voices didn't matter, but it was the rural counties that gave us that Harney County judge that has saved our bacon. And so that's where your voice does matter. We just have to be smart about using our voice, right? Excuse me. My throat is getting dry because I'm talking so much. So from that, we got we went to court. We got a hearing, an emergency hearing, in the beginning of December, before this thing was supposed to go into effect on December 8th, right, of last year. We got not necessarily really good news. We got okay news, and then fortunately we had another case out of Harney County. So I went twice over to Harney County to be there with the people over there, and just to be a part of this process, and lots of time in the truck, lots of time behind the window, just thinking of things, and meeting people and developing the infrastructure that we have today. It's we've come a long ways in a year. As Oregon gun owners, we've come together. We've written testimony, we've testified, we've done all these things to be a part of this process, and to be able to be more effective advocates, and we're learning every day. And so, hats off to you guys, and I appreciate you guys being a part of this. And so another part of this thing is, now we're at the trial phase of Measure 114. And that's why I'm going to be there, come hell or high water. And I'm hoping that my friends will show up. And I feel that this is our move, is Adam, that's the thing, is we have to either, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to take you. I just had to get this out. So this is where we're at. Where we're at is, it's going to be an uphill fight, and it's probably not going to go the way we want it to go. Yeah, I'll see you Monday, Cody. Thank you so much for tuning in. What time we're meeting? So I'm gonna figure that all out. Okay, I'm gonna put together a game plan. I'm gonna get some satellite image. I'm gonna get some Google Maps. I'm gonna look for parking. I'm gonna identify everything, and I'll give us a rally point. Probably want to be there 7:30 ish, right? I think the lobby will open at 8 a.m. or 8:30. I'll have to verify that, but let's start planning. If you guys can just plan on giving me the day on Monday, and I will figure everything else when it comes to all the logistics, and I'll have all my friends reach out and talk about this as well. And if we can get there, and then, because we're gonna have to go through security, we're gonna have to show our IDs, we're gonna have to make sure that we don't have a blade, we're gonna have to make sure we don't have any kind of weapons. This is pretty serious security. This is going into a federal building. This is federal court. We're gonna be on the 13th floor, same courtroom as it was before. Probably gonna hold, maybe 100 people, if that. It's not the biggest courtroom. And if we can fill that courtroom, if we can get there early, we can do some things. And the whole point of that is, if we can jam them up so we don't allow them to get this victory from us like they think they have. I think that would send a big message. They're not expecting us to show up. They're expecting us to go to work. That's what they're expecting. That's why they've been banking on this the whole time, is for us to not be engaged and involved. And so, that's kind of, yeah. Thanks, and I'll talk to you more, buddy. Um, that's kind of where I'm at. So if we can, I'll figure out all the logistics. If you can just give me a Monday. If we can turn the Monday into Tuesday, I'm not expecting miracles here. I'm going to be up there. Um, Next week is going to be very, very challenging for me because of all the stuff that I have going on, but I'm still going to be there every day. That's my commitment to you, and my commitment to myself, and my commitment to seeing this through. Because I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to surrender. I'm not going to quit. Um, I just need people that can join me. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I hope that was a lot. I did not want to do a video like this because I want to sound like I have my stuff together, because I feel like I don't today. I feel like I'm going so many different directions here. And I hope this is, something that we can get behind. Yeah, so we're gonna have at least until September. So one thing here, there's nothing is going to change. There's nothing that's going to change. Um, Only thing that's going to change for us is which court this is going to go to, and so, in reality, what's going to happen, and you're going to see a lot. So Alicia, we could probably start, figuring out routes. We can figure out parking. We can figure out, that would be really helpful, Alicia, if you could help me with that. On top of the stuff that I'm talking about is for my own stuff. It's organizational stuff. Like, I'm going to be tripping back and forth one day because I had a class in Albany. So I've got, like, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm staying, all sorts of different things. And just, I'm trying to do it all safely because I'm not looking forward to being up in that area for that long a period of time. Um, so yeah, Andy, I really appreciate that. Thank you for, you know, I just feel that if we can just plant that flag and let them know how important this is to us, because we're in reality, like, this is what's going to prevent us from being criminals. And so we have a vested interest in this thing going away. And the fact of the matter that they don't have the permit to purchase program ready to go. They won't have it ready to go because they need another 50 plus Oregon State police officers. That's not including the county sheriffs, how many they're going to have to bring on board so they can be the permitting agents. Then we're talking in Multnomah County and Portland area. Now they're talking about adding a third party type permitting agents because they're worried about the racial impact. This thing is a complete utter disaster. And the greatest thing that we're going to take great pleasure in is when this thing goes in the trash can where it belongs. But how many millions of dollars is it going to cost? How many lives are going to be lost until then? That's kind of the thing that I'm just like, man, like what I just put out, like, and I didn't want to put that out. They forced my hand to put that out. When it comes to the the Freedom of Information, my FOIA request, I didn't want to put that out. I wanted to have everything together so I can present it all to the media, Willamette Week, all the other Lars Larson, all of them, right? And so I have a friend that's writing a story right now in AmmoLand that's hopefully going to be done tomorrow, and we're going to blast it, and we're gonna make them look silly, and how they've abused their positions, abused the trust of Oregon taxpayers to push unconstitutional gun laws. And we're going to highlight that. And the fact that it's going to be $3 million before this is all said and done, I guarantee it. There's no way it's going to stop. This is only the beginning, and we haven't even gotten the trial, and we're already probably over $1.5 million as we talk tonight. And I didn't want to put that out, but I didn't really have another chance. It's either I get it out now, or I've been working on this since March. I've been working on these freedom of information requests, and they've been going back and forth. They give me little bits and pieces, and then they give me stuff that is not, I can't verify, and I can't put it out because it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's rumor. So I've done all this stuff on top of all the stuff on top of all the other stuff. And I'm done with it. I'm just like, okay, well, here you go. It's not exactly what I wanted, but here it is. Let's see what we can do with it. And so I put it out, and they sent me the email yesterday, right after I put it out, that they're going to have the information for me on June 6th, right? Which is that's Tuesday, right? They've already cashed my check, so they've taken my money. So now it's time for them to pay up and give me the information that I requested. And I guarantee if it's the information that I requested, then I'll know who they paid, who their expert witnesses were, and how much they were paid, and where that money went. I'm going to get every single one of them. I asked every single one of them. And I think that's what's taking so long, is it was a very thorough request. And I asked for a lot of dang information, and because I want it, because it's public record, and I have the right to know, and you have the right to know, and the public has the right to know. And so, we're going to fight them in a different way. We're going to learn to fight differently. And that's what we're doing. So, so how do we feel? Did we solve anything? I feel like a mess. And I'll put all this information. It's just, it's sad. It's sad that it's kind of the arrogance, right? It's to think that they don't want to listen to what other courts and other rulings, they want to make up their own rulings, right? And the problem with making up their own rulings, if they go counter to the ruling at the Supreme Court, that just costs us money, right? Because what it does, it just moves this. It's like 3-card Monte. It's like, we're going to take this court ruling, and we're not going to get the ruling that we want, so we're going to move it over to this other court, and we're going to start this thing all over again, and then we're going to have to go all the way to the next court. So it is such a mess. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get off here. I'm going to put the information that I want you to see, this document. I'm probably going to put it in a Google Doc in our resource guide. And then what I'll do is I'll copy and paste it, and I'll put it in the body of this. And I'll also have a separate thing for you guys to read it. It's 7 pages. It was filed today. I mean, this is hot off the presses. And, it's just, they're just trying to, they're not dealing with the root of the cause here. The root of the cause with Measure 114 is the fact that the lack of resources, and the fact that our side is trying to point out the fact that the Oregon State Police does not have anything in place to implement. The only thing that they could do today, like if this thing goes into effect, is arrest us for having a magazine that has more than 10 rounds in it. Actually, technically, it's every magazine. Every magazine, because it has a removable, detachable base plate. And so even a 6-round magazine would be illegal under Measure 114. Our tube fed shotguns, those are going to be illegal. Okay, we've kind of forgotten, because it's been so long since we talked about this stuff. This is the impact. The impact is and there are all these other parts. It's like 70 pages, and I'm not fresh on it because there's all these other bills that I'm following. But the gist is, anything with a detachable box magazine, so AR-15, anything, if the magazine has a removable base plate, that's going to be illegal. Tube-fed shotgun that's going to hold more than 5 rounds is going to be illegal. It's going to be a Class A misdemeanor, which Class A misdemeanor is up to 364 days in jail, and it's a 6250 fine, $6,200 fine. So that's bad. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I hope. No, I misspoke there. They can't, because it's not part of Measure 114. That was part of 348. The so the part of this the problem is this was supposed to go to rules. This should have gone to rules before we even got to this place. Like, the first step would have been, this thing gets passed, then it goes to the Oregon legislature for the rulemaking, right? So we could have fought it in the rulemaking thing, because we would have been able to hold their feet to the fire. The problem is Shemaiah Fagan said, no, the Oregon Constitution says ballot initiatives go into effect 30 days upon passage. And so that's what stuck us in this situation where, because Let There Be Voice, their goal was to throw something so broad and so nasty, but they were going to get it passed, and then it was going to be somebody else's problem. Okay. They were going to punt this to the Oregon State Police. It was going to punt that to the legislature, because they were going to be the ones that were going to write the rules for this stuff. And so that's when they're starting to get the heat, because, gun control is racist. It is racist. Okay. There's no way around it. And so now they're starting to get some heat, because what they did puts people of color in urban environments at great risk. And so now they're trying to walk this back, and they're trying to say, oh, you don't have to see law enforcement. You get to see a third party permit issuer, which, why can't I go see a third party? Why do I have to go see law enforcement? Even though, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying, like, we're creating different classes of people, and that's not right. So yes, you can have it inside your home. You can have it at the range. You cannot conceal carry outside of your home with a magazine that has a detachable base plate, right? If I'm going to take my magazine that holds 10 rounds or 11 rounds, I'm going to take it to the range. It has to be transported from my home in a locked storage compartment away from my gun. So I have to treat my magazine like it's a firearm, even though my magazine will not fire without a gun. It is unreal. So that's about all I got. I just want to make it till July 1st. And then I hope that, this stuff just goes away. Probably won't, but short answer is no. Absolutely no. Short answer is no. Inside of my home, yes, I could have my 100-round drum if I want, but it comes down to lack of enforcement. They don't have the manpower. They don't even have the manpower, the staffing to, lock people up. They don't have jail space. They don't have funding. You know what I mean? So how you can't look me in the face and tell me you're going to come after law-abiding citizens that have an arbitrary number in their magazine. It's unreal. It's not going to happen. So let's not focus on the minutia here. Let's just focus on getting to court on Monday. We'll figure out the rally point. We'll figure out like what we're going to do, but let's figure out how to get there. And we're going to do this in little bits and pieces, and we're going to string them together until they become something big. Yeah, that's what they're doing. I'll keep my head up. I will. It was nice to wake up this morning knowing that I was a felon. because of a rule. So actually, I'm not, but I'm just kidding. So yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. It's just I babbled on. I had a couple squirrel moments. I was kind of fired up. I did a little bit of crying. It was a little bit of everything. It was like somebody please don't red flag me. Oh geez, what a mess. But it's just we'll get through this. We gotta focus on what we can do, and what we can do is show up Monday and show up in a crowd and be respectful, be well dressed, and look professional because we're going into a professional work environment. We're going into federal court, and we're going to look good, and we're going to represent our neighbors well, and maybe we'll get in front of a TV camera, and maybe we'll tell our story and how this law affects us and affects our families and our ability to be able to defend ourselves and our families. So maybe if we're lucky, we'll get that. We just got to make sure that we say the right things. So if you're not comfortable talking in front of a camera, please don't jump in front of a camera. So absolutely nothing new. Nothing new. You didn't miss anything. There's lots of emotion tonight. There was a lot of you. It was like never a dull moment. Uh, oh, come on, Dave. Do it for one day. Okay. Just put on a smile, you know, go sit down next to Moms Demand Action and talk about your feelings with them. It'll be great. A pirate, huh? I never thought about being, uh, I don't know. I guess I've been called worse. So, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, they're professional victims. That's what they are. I mean, they're professional, emotional, smoke and mirrors. It's it's hard to explain. It's something until and so tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow is the big day, and they've done this. We got Adam Johnson. I don't know if he's still here, but we want to put her. You want to put your tinfoil hat on for just a second with me, okay? Let's put our tinfoil hats on, okay? Let's say let's say we have this judge that is a rogue judge that doesn't like the Constitution, but she's a Trump appointee, right? And let's put this tinfoil hat on. Stay with me here, okay? It's going to get deep, okay? So tomorrow is June 2nd. So June 2nd to June 4th, every year, Moms Demand Action has a big weekend where they all wear red shirts, orange shirts, and they use hashtags wear orange. And that's their thing, right? It's wear orange to prevent gun violence. Okay. So let's our tinfoil hats are on. Okay. We're talking through this scenario. And so what we have this radical judge. This radical judge checked your calendar for trial. She's like, oh, let's look at the optics. Let's do it the weekend after the national weekend of Wear Orange, right? So they have all of the cameras. They're going to have all these parades. They're going to have all this stuff all weekend long, talking about preventing gun violence leading into federal court. Okay, you see this? Do you see the big picture here? Okay. I don't think I don't want to toot my own horn, but I know a little bit about a lot about this optic standpoint here. And so I think it would be safe to say that this everything that's happening is all by design. Okay. They're going to use the court of public opinions all day long, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, leading up to trial. Then they're going to have camera crews there because they're doing something to stop gun violence, right? By taking away your rights. Okay. And so, that's kind of the thing. And so yeah, you can highlight, I guess there's a highlight. So you can, so something to think about here is, so tomorrow, and I already saw the tweet. I was gonna put it in the group, but I wasn't sure how you guys would respond to it. Every June 2nd, I wear an orange shirt. I go to the range. I train. I shoot a gun. I take medical, and I use their hashtags. Okay, every year, and so that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. And so now when they just like the photo op where I sat right in the front row, right in their photo op, that's what I do on my social media. And so, I saw Hillary, their leader, the fearless leader, the one that was sitting right next to me, like my BFF, right? With the red shirt. She's not my BFF. I'm being sarcastic. She already tweeted out that, oh, a reminder, make sure you wear your orange and your red. Here's the hashtags. So what I'll do is I'll put this in the group. So if you guys feel froggy tomorrow or all weekend long, wear orange. Have a gun on your hip. Go to the range. Wearing it, take a selfie with your firearm and use their hashtag. Okay. I do that every year. And so that way when they're scrolling in there, they see my ugly mug in there with my firearm, exercising my rights, but also training, bettering myself, and I'm using their hashtags. And so, we got to do, we got to fight fire with fire. And the way we do that is making sure that, we use technology to our advantage, because they can't delete, once we put that up there, they can't delete that. Like, that's part of their hashtag now. So David Hogg will have, his wear orange shirt on, right? And I could be right alongside of him because I'm wearing orange and I'm using their hashtag, but I'm just using it in a more effective way. And this is stuff that either you guys can, it might not be something for you. Like, I get it, but it's something that I do because it's a big old middle finger to him. So I love middle fingers every chance I get. So, so that's it. I'm going to get off here. I'm tired. It's been a long freaking day. But I'll put this information in here. I'm going to do 2 posts. I'll put this post and I'll also post the hashtag one. So you guys can see what I do. And I'll give you I'll give you their photo and I'll give you my photo. Right. And so that way you can kind of see what I'm envisioning. And if you guys can incorporate that, if you guys want to, it would be cool. So, and I'll kind of explain it. So I guess I'm not going to bed now because I got posts to do. But I'm going to get off here. So I thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry if it was kind of all over the place. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it, man. I'll see you on Monday, man. Let's get there. It's downtown Portland. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be drug users everywhere, dirt, filth, broken glass. Yeah, I think the Capitol bill or the federal courthouse is still, sheet plywooded up too. So just something to think about. So, but other than that, I'm gonna get off here. So you guys have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, and let's plan on being there on Monday if you guys can. That would really be helpful. And I'll just figure out all the details, make it easy, and we'll see you there. So thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.